it's basically a story of, I start out just kind of with, my main character. I use different names in the book just because I thought, um, my family, our names were kind of old-fashioned, and I wanted to bring it up to date a little. So, the main character is Lucy, that's
Hmm.
me, and, um, just kind of what they enjoyed doing on the farm and special things that they did. And then I go into the day that we found out that he had been in this farm accident where he died, and how how my sister handled it. The first thing she did was, I remember her getting it down on her hands and knees and saying, or on her knees saying, "Daddy, God, please take Daddy to heaven." And I remember just the flurry of activity because our grandparents were there, to give us that news, and we kind of just had to pack bags and then go into town where we stayed with our cousins and our grandparents. We had to kind of split up, but luckily they all lived on the same street as well in a small town. And so there were a lot of things that I think God prepared us for when that happened. One thing that happened, and I mentioned that in the book, is as we were getting ready to take lunch out to my dad in the field, we had a flat tire. And so my mom and my oldest sister were trying to change that flat tire while we were sitting around and waiting for them to get that done. And once they had it changed, we were all going to hop in and it went flat again. That happened twice. And if that hadn't happened, we might have gone out and found him. And but as we did pull out of the yard, my grandparents came up in a car behind us and stopped us. And that's when we found out the news. So the rest of the book is kind of what it was like going through that grief, as an 8-year-old, the questions that I had, um, about what was happening, and then, um, what it was that got us through those days. I talk about how our community came around behind us, about how our family was there for us,
Hmm.
keeping us in their homes, for the rest of that summer, through the farm sale. Um,
The farm
and
sale, they sold the farm.
well, we didn't own that particular farm. We were renting at the time, but we had machinery, we had livestock, all of that. Um, yeah, they had a farm sale,
So
and
I imagine it's a fairly beautiful spring day. Summer's just starting. You got your whole summer ahead of you.
yeah,
You'll go out, and it's the outdoors, and it's the summer on the farm, a
yeah,
summer of adventure. And then this news happens, and your
yeah,
life changes in a way that almost seems like it's a dream
yeah,
that you're going to wake up from,
or a nightmare.
or a nightmare that you're going to wake up from.
Yeah,
And so when you lost your dad, then you lost your home, I guess. Is that right? You had to move to a different place?
we tried to stay out at the farm one night,
Uh-huh.
after, I suppose this was probably, several weeks after it had happened. And there was a terrible storm that night, and it almost seemed tornadic. And so we were in the basement and we were all scared to death. And I just remember looking at my mom's face, and I could tell that, as much as she tried to hide it, that she was scared too. And after that, I think we just decided we weren't gonna be able to stay out there. And and I think maybe we knew that all the time because she had to go to work. She had been a stay-at-home mom, and she had to get a job. She had to go to work.
What'd she
Um,
do?
she went to work at the bank to start with, the bank in town. My uncle helped her, to get that job, and she worked there for quite a number of years. And then she went over to work at the school, for the superintendent, which is where she was when she retired. So many, many years.